The comfort zone. Let's talk about the comfort zone. We have a society here in the West that only knows the comfort zone. The comfort zone is like a rut. And the only difference between a rut and a grave is the rut is turned up on the ends. Most people die before they're ever buried because they're comfortable. Remember when you were a child, you were always looking for another adventure. Always running around doing something, or at least back when we were kids. I'm not sure about now. I think they find their adventures on Xbox, Call of Duty, and such things as that. But you were looking for another adventure when you were a kid. And then you got older, you were programmed by society, not any of my subscribers, but our followers, but some of those people out there. Maybe someone who's just watching today that's trying to escape the societal programming. And then you grew up and you were told over and over, you gotta finish high school or you won't get a good job. So you've been told all your life that you gotta get a good job. And hey, nothing wrong with a good job. My dad had a good job, my mom had a good job. And there's times being a self-employed entrepreneur when I think maybe I would like to have a good job because it seems like security. But there is no security in a job. There is no security in a business. The only security, and there is no security in any amount of money. There is no security anything except yourself. That's why if you talk to people or listen to people like Tate, Grant Cardone, a lot of the wealthy people, they will tell you that if all their money was taken away today, they would have it back in a short time. And the reverse of that is true. If you won the lottery today, unless you change your consciousness, you would be back to where you were before you won it, and maybe even in more debt. That's something to remember. How can that be, you say? How many people think if I just had $1 million? And I've had those thoughts too. I've had a lot of money and I've had no money. And to be honest, at times I felt more insecure financially when I had more money than when I had nothing. When I lived in Guatemala, we lived on about $600 a month, and that paid for rent, food, and that was 3 or 4 kids I had at the time. It's hard to remember. I worked for $1 an hour. I would walk 12 miles a day to teach private English classes in the homes of different people. That was until I got enough money to open up a school, to rent a place to have a location. I would have to say that was one of the best times of my life. We didn't go hungry. We lived very poorly. We lived like the Guatemalans lived. But my security at that time did not come from anything other than my belief in myself, of what I was capable of doing. I flunked English in high school, and I was teaching English there. I relearned or learned better everything that I had forgotten I learned in school and taught it. And today I've forgotten it again because I don't teach it anymore. So most of the things you learn in school, if you don't use them, which is probably 90% or 95% you won't use, you will forget. It will be total useless information for you. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing education. I believe in education. But the word educate comes from Latin, and one of the original meanings is to draw out. It's not to teach you something, but to draw out from within you what you already know. But the opposite is true in school. They teach us to memorize, to remember. Memorize a lot of stuff that doesn't even matter. Things that you won't even use in your regular life. They don't teach us how to invest. They don't teach us how to manage money. They don't teach us how to write a check. My kids don't know how to write a check. Well, they do now because I taught them. So as I said, I'm not here to badmouth the school system. What I am here to tell you is that your security will come from within yourself. The confidence within yourself, the self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-value. That is what you need to work on. Jim Rohn said, if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, you will never want for anything. You're going to have struggles. That's how character building comes along. Accept the struggles, rejoice in everything, even the hard times. You see these people who are really successful. Let's take Tate, for example. Do you think he got there overnight? No, but do you understand the hardships he's had to go through? Can you imagine what it would be like to be as successful as he is and to wake up one morning and all your bank accounts are froze, you're completely wiped out from social media. Actually, for the moment, you're broke. Okay? We don't see the worry and the fear that he probably experienced, but he's not going to share that with you. He's a human being. He has fear just like all of us. I know a lot of you may not think that he does, but he does. I think he's admitted to having fear when he steps into the ring. I've stepped into the ring myself, as most of you know. And every time you get in there, there's a possibility that you may not get out. Many people have died in the ring. Many people have had permanent brain damage from being in the ring. Fortunately, I have not, as far as I know. I do have some damage on my neck, though, that I've experienced, but that's okay. You're not going to get through life without pain. What do they say? No pain, no gain. Well, there's a lot of truth in that. Are you willing to pay the price? And it's really not a price, except when you're going through it, because when you look back on it, you realize that it was all part of the big picture, part of the big puzzle. But when you're in the middle of the crap and the struggles, you can't see that. But after you've been through it enough times, as I have, you can't see the wisdom of what's going on when you're challenged or when you're going through adversity. But you know, because you've experienced it before, that it's there, that there's wisdom there, that there's character growth there, that this is happening for you, not to you. You've got to change your perception. Life is perspective. How you perceive something makes all the difference in how you come out on the other end. If you look at everything as happening to you, oh, poor me, why me? Oh, geez, I never get a break, blah, blah, blah. How do you think you're going to come out of that in the end? And I've done that. Don't get me wrong, I've done that stupid crap. And got to catch myself, I could get right into that again. But if you're aware of what's going on in your life, you don't have to know why it's happening. Just believe, if you have a goal, that it's happening for you. If nothing else, to build your character. And this gives you enough to hang on to, that you can hang on long enough that you'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And once you get through this, you'll be able to look back and realize how valuable a time it was for you. More valuable than the time when you were succeeding, the money was flowing, and everything was going great. Now, I hope that gives you some hope today. It's my hope that you'll get some hope. Some people call hope a beggar. Well, maybe it's not hope that I want you to have. What I really want you to have is the determination, the inspiration, the persistence, and the perseverance to get through whatever you're going through today and realize that it's a pendulum swing. You're on the downside now, but if you just hang in there, try to rise above the circumstances, get your eyes off of the circumstances, and look to the hills, as they say. Get your mind on a higher plane and rise above this seeming tragedy or adversity or challenge you have in your life. You can rise above the swing of the pendulum, the lower swing, and you can come through this better, stronger, faster, financially more fit than you were before it started. If we never had storms of life, we would never have to endure them, but we would never grow stronger. How do you get strong in the gym? You have to have resistance. How do you get strength to the inner man? How do you build up the inner man? We must have resistance. And as I started this off, we live in a society of comfort, pleasures, no challenges, easy. Just flick a button and the TV changes channels. Just pick up the phone and order DoorDash. You don't even have to get up to go out to get fat. you can just destroy yourself sitting in the comfort of your own home. Easy as that. You as a man have to go out and find things to challenge yourself, as well as you're going to be challenged by life. And if you're doing something, if you're on the firing line of life, you are going to get fired at. Maybe not by a particular person or organization like they did Tate. But if you're out there doing something, you're going to run into challenges and adversity. This is why most people check out and they live in that rut, which, as I said, is no different from a grave. It's just turned up on the ends, and they're buried before they ever die. Thoreau said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. So, would you like to lead a life of quiet desperation? Or would you like to be in the challenges and on the firing line of life, in desperation, going through the challenges, coming out on the other side, a better, more successful, more profitable individual who can pass that on to others and make humanity and masculinity, as well as men, better, stronger, and more able to build our society and maintain our society, which I believe at the moment is teetering. But who's to say? Things sometimes have to get bad before they get better. Let's hope that's the case. I'm going to stop it there. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you to my 1,652 subscribers. Let's go to 2,000, so share this with a friend. And if you would like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com. I still have a special, half off on consultations for the month of December. Have a happy new year. Take care and be a man.